right, grade 3, Mrs. Pinchin here with the Writing Interesting Sentences Using Superb Sentence Starters booklet. And with me I have Tori, and I told her I had to borrow her. I had to pull her away from what she was doing because I needed a kid to teach. I have no kids to teach right now. So I'm going to borrow her, and we're going to go through this booklet because I'm not sure that just giving it to you has been terribly effective. So, we'll see if I can make this work. So, the way that this book works, Tori, is that it works on the idea that authors know that they have to make their sentences really interesting if they want people to keep reading them, okay? And so, interesting words help you to get a picture in your head. So, when you read a book, do you ever get a picture in your head?
Yes.
Yeah, and that helps make the book easier to understand, right?
Yes.
Okay, so these are some sentences that I actually wrote, and we're going to check and see which one sounds better. Okay, so the first sentence says, the boy ran down the street, and the second one says, as fast as he could, the boy sprinted down the busy street. Which one sounds better? I don't actually want to mark it.
The second one.
The second one sounds better. Why does it sound better?
Well, it has more to explain.
Right, and so it helps you get a better...
The boy ran down the street. Like, what street? And...
Was he, like, running because he was afraid of something? Or...
Yeah.
Okay, so the second one gives you more information, right? Helps you get
Yeah.
a better picture in your head? Okay, so this whole booklet is based on the fact that when authors start a sentence, they can start it by telling us what the sentence is about, how the sentence happened, where the sentence happened, when the sentence happened, or who the sentence is about, who the sentence happened to or with. Okay? So when we're first learning to write sentences, we always start with who or what. So the first sentence that you wrote was probably about mommy, right? So probably something like, or it might have even been, I love mommy.
Maybe.
And then who's the sentence about?
You.
No, if you wrote I love mommy.
Me.
Yeah, it's about I, right?
I guess.
Okay. Those kinds of sentences, those start with who the sentence is about. And that's how kids always start writing. Or you would tell maybe like the dog. The dog did this. The dog did that. The sentence is about
The
dog. Okay? And so we're really good at sentences like that, but we can make those sentences more interesting. We can make those sentences more interesting by adding describing words to them. So we first talk about, the booklet talks about how a who or a what is a noun, and a noun is a person. Do you remember this? A noun is a person, a place, or a
thing.
Good girl. Okay? And then it says, can you think of a noun to finish this sentence? Someone or something ran down the street chasing the mailman.
The dog.
Ooh, the dog. Okay, the dog would be the noun, right?
Yeah.
The dog ran down the street chasing the mailman. Now, we can add describing words that are called adjectives to make it more exciting. Okay?
Who and what?
Well, the adjectives tell more information about the who or the what. Okay, so they're words that describe nouns. So let's try making this sentence from up here more interesting by adding adjectives. So we're going to keep it still with the dog, but what kind of dog?
The Dalmatian.
Ooh, and what does a Dalmatian look like?
It's a white dog with black spots.
So could we say the black and white dog chased the mailman down the street? Okay, so instead of just starting with the dog, now we're describing the dog. The black and white dog ran down the street chasing the mailman. Okay, so we're still starting our sentence with who or what, but we're describing the who or the what. So this is the same thing. Some people, the people are the who, right? They lined up to get their free hamburgers. What's a word you could use to describe people who are lining up to get free hamburgers?
Hungry.
Oh, hungry people lined up to get free hamburgers. Children complained to the teacher when the field trip was canceled. What kind of children? How are the children feeling?
Disappointed.
Ooh, the disappointed children complained to the teacher when the field trip was canceled. Good. And flowers were growing on the side of the road. What kind of flowers?
Beautiful.
Beautiful flowers were growing on the side of the road. So our sentences are still starting with the who or the what, but now they're more interesting. Okay? And so when you guys are at home, it actually asks you, this is an activity we normally do at school, and I get you to write a boring sentence and then trade your book with someone and you make it more interesting. So if you're doing this at home, you could get mom or a brother or a sister to tell you a boring sentence, and then you can make it more interesting. As we go through the booklet, we start looking at other ways to start our sentences. So we've talked about how to make a what or a who sentence more interesting, right? We just add some describing words to it.
Yep.
But we can also change what comes at the start of our sentence. We can tell how the sentence happened, where it happened, or when it happened. So one of the easiest ones, I think, is to start with where it happened. So that's the one we're going to look at next. Okay, we're going to start talking, I'm going to try to start some sentences with where they happened. So, 2 sentences again. Are you ready? The man almost lost his balance and fell. Can you get a picture of a man who almost lost his balance and fell?
Not really, because what was he balancing on?
True, he could just be walking down the street, right? I can get a picture of him. But look at the next sentence. On a tight rope, high above the crowd, the man almost lost his balance and fell. Does that give you a different picture in your head?
Yeah, because I thought he might have been like on it, I don't know, his fence.
Oh, he could have been on his fence. He could have been on his bike even, right? Lose his balance and fall. So by adding this detail, this extra information about where he is, it makes the sentence more interesting. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to practice adding the where, just the start of some sentences. So this is the sentence. Willie dug a hole big enough to hide in. Where do you think Willie dug the hole big enough to hide? Where could you dig a hole that's big enough to hide in?
Well, not really in the park.
Maybe not.
In a field.
Ooh.
In the field.
In a field?
In the middle of a field, Willie dug a hole big enough to hide in.
I like it. All right. Anna found a $20 bill.
In the park.
Okay, so let's start our sentence.
In the park, Anna found a $20 bill.
Nice. And Henry fell fast asleep. Where did he fall asleep?
In his bed.
That's boring. Is there something better?
In the car.
In the car, Henry fell fast asleep. My favorite one for this is at his desk. Henry fell asleep. All right. So again, if you're doing this at home, this is where you would write a boring sentence. You'd trade your book with someone else. You'd make their sentence more interesting. They would make yours more interesting. So if you're doing this at home, ask mom or a brother or sister to give you a boring sentence that starts with a who or a what. And now you can add a where to the beginning. Yeah, or dad's. All right. So we've talked about how to make a what sentence more interesting, how to make a who sentence more interesting, how to make a where sentence, or how to make a sentence more interesting by adding where. We have how and when left over. So let's work on when. Okay, so we're going to tell when some sentences happen. All right, so this says, we can answer the question of when a sentence happens to help our readers get a better picture in their head. So, 2 sentences again. Listen, see which one you like. John jumped out of his chair and cheered. Just as his team scored the winning goal, John jumped out of his chair and cheered. Which one sounds better, Tori?
2.
Why does it sound better?
It gives us where he is.
Okay, so it's not where he is. We know that he's in his chair in both sentences, right?
Oh,
but we know
when
it happened, right? It wasn't when a mouse ran in front of him, right? It was when his team scored the winning goal. All right, so that darn Mrs. Pinchin, she yawned and stretched. When did she yawn and stretch?
In the morning.
Okay, so tell me the sentence.
In the morning, Mrs. Pinchin yawned and stretched.
Yep. Mrs. Smith brushed her teeth. When did she brush her teeth?
At bedtime.
At bedtime, Mrs. Smith brushed her teeth. Good. And Peter finished writing his last sentence. When did he finish?
At supper.
At supper time? Oh my goodness. Peter's been busy. So again, grade 3, if you are at home, this is a good time. Pause the video, take a break, ask someone in your family to write a boring sentence for you, and then you can add a when to make it more interesting. Yeah, fix it up a little. It's not that the other sentences are wrong. They're just not as exciting. All right, so we've covered the what sentences and the who sentences and the where sentences and the when sentences, and all we have left are the
how sentences.
How sentences. So how did something happen? Now, this one takes a little bit more time to go through because Mrs. Pinchin has actually put an entire dictionary of words in here. They don't have descriptions with them, okay, but there are a whole bunch of words. So here are 2 sentences. We're going to compare them and see which one we think is better.
Cautiously, Margaret opened the lid of the cage.
Can you imagine how she's doing it?
Like carefully.
Right. Is she like really confident about what's in there? Or is she a little bit nervous?
She's shaky.
Ah, okay. Number 2.
Margaret opened the lid of the cage, so she might have just thrown it off.
Oh. Okay, so which one is better?
The first one this time.
And why is it better?
It gives us more description.
Right, has more information. So you guys, this is an entire dictionary of ly words. So words that end with ly, because ly words actually tell us how something happened. So they can end with ing, but those kinds of words often end with ly. So things like quickly.
The boy snatched up his ball.
Right? Or you could have some that are ing words.
Soaring the plane.
Soaring.
The plane flew into the sky.
Right. The ly ones tend to be a little bit easier, but there are some exceptions. So on the next few pages here, I think 3 pages, there are a whole lot of words that end with ly. And they all tell how something could happen. Oh, it's actually only 2 pages. Oh, right, I made it shorter. I forgot. So, at home, your job would be to go through these words and circle or underline the ones that you know what they mean. If you're not sure what one of those words means, you can ask Mom or Dad, or you can ask Mrs. Pinchin. I will be happy to tell you. But the ones that you're most likely to use are the ones that you know what they mean. Now, we are going to look at a couple here. What is this word, Tori?
Loudly.
And so what does loudly mean?
Well, if you yell loudly, that means, like, you yell loud.
Okay, so the ly tells us that we're doing something in this kind of way. Okay, so loudly means to do it in a
loud voice.
A loud way. Okay, what's this word?
Carelessly.
Carelessly.
Without care.
To do something in a careless way. Okay?
Angrily.
To do something in an
angry way. Like, I stormed to my room angrily.
Yeah, angrily. Tori slammed her bedroom door. Okay? So that's your hint in general about ly words.
Really?
Yeah, that's a little bit...
That's weird.
A little bit trickier. We often do that one with another word, like really neatly, Tori printed her name. Okay. So then grade 3, once you are familiar with some of these words, your job is to choose one to put into these sentences so we can practice starting our sentences with a how. So Tori, the lady ran through the shopping mall with her kids. How did she run through the shopping mall with her kids?
Wildly.
Wildly. The lady ran through the shopping mall with her kids. Does that make you think that they might be in a little bit of a hurry and that her kids are driving her crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Albert fed his peas to the dog so he wouldn't have to eat them. How would he do that? I know you like your peas.
Secretly.
Secretly. So he did it in a secret kind of way, right? Who's he probably hiding that from?
Mom.
From his mom. Susie showed her mom her Most Improved Student Award. How would she show that award to her mom?
Proudly.
There you go. So in a proud way. So you guys that are doing this at home, again, start with a boring sentence. Fix it up. And once you've done all of that, congratulations, you're now an expert on writing sentences with superb beginnings. So no more sentences that start with the dog did this, the cat did that.
The mouse ate this.
Yeah. Henry likes this. Or Joseph did that.
First
Okay.
paragraph.
Now, this booklet does also have, because normally we do this at school, so I have a picture here that I usually ask kids to write a story about. So if you haven't done this booklet yet, this is a great opportunity. Use your writer's notebook. Write me a story about this picture. You only have to write the first paragraph, but you can write the whole story if you want. And I actually have another one on the back here. The way this printed, it almost looks like it was raining. But again, it's just a different picture. And you can choose to write the first paragraph of this one. So you can choose which one you want, or you can do both. You can write the first paragraph, or you can write the whole story. It is totally up to you. And so grade 3, that is the quickest way I have ever gone through this entire booklet. Normally it takes us about a week, maybe even 2 weeks at school to do this. So don't stress if you're not done this one, as long as you're working on it. That's great. I know a few of you have handed this in already. I'm going to send it home with you because you might need that LY dictionary for your next task. It doesn't necessarily mean that I've marked it yet, but you might need that list of words for the assignment that's coming out with your package number 5 here in a couple of days. So I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any questions.